So, welcome everybody, and thank you, Raynette, for that introduction. My name is Amanda Cardoso, and I am the Regional Group Sales Representative for the Southeast with Grand Circle Travel and Overseas Adventure Travel. I've been with the company for 8 years this year, living in Palm Coast, Florida, so Northeast side, not too far away from you. I'm really excited to be here to talk to you and give you some information about my company that I work for, and a brief description on the Great Rivers of Europe trip for October 4th of 2026. So basically, this presentation will be recorded as well and available to everyone after. And how the presentation will go is I'm going to start by giving you a brief history on my company. And then I will go into details specifically on the trip and cover some of the highlights. And then at the end of the presentation, I will open it up to any questions about the trip or about the company that you have for me. I'll be here till the last person leaves, so don't hesitate to ask me whatever questions you have. I have my computer, I have all of my information here, so I most likely will have any answer to any question that you will have. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the brief history of Grand Circle and OAT. So on the upper left-hand corner, we have Ethel Andrus, who founded Grand Circle Travel in 1985. She was the first female school principal in California, and she also founded the National Retired Teachers Association and AARP. So 30% of our travelers are retired educators. So I feel like we are a great fit for the lifelong learning organizations. In 1985, you'll see the next picture next to Ethel Andrus is our Lewis family. They purchased Grand Circle Travel and moved the offices to Boston from New York. So I am originally from Massachusetts, but moved to Florida to work for this amazing company. But I also love being able to go back home and work in the Boston office. Every single floor is decorated in travel. The floor that I work on, the walls look like you're in Thailand. And they also show videos on every single floor of travelers on our trips. So it's just an amazing company to work for. They really focus on the learning and discovery. And now, when you look at where we go all over the world, and we're constantly revising our itineraries or announcing new trips. I was just out of the office the last 3 days, and we announced two new destinations, which is really exciting. My other favorite benefit to working for this company is that we have 36 regional offices around the world where we hire local associates. So I think that's very important when you look at world events or certain things that happen where we're not just monitoring those situations from our Boston office, we're monitoring those situations firsthand in those areas because of our 36 regional offices. Now, I want to briefly discuss the Grand Circle family. So, we have different parts. We're all a part of Grand Circle Corporation. The trip that I will be talking about today, the Great Rivers of Europe, is with Grand Circle Cruise Line, but we also have Grand Circle Travel. And then we have Overseas Adventure Travel, or OAT, or OAT, as some people would call it. So the biggest difference between anything Grand Circle and anything with OAT, Overseas Adventure Travel, Overseas Adventure Travel is going to be more adventurous, faster paced, and then a smaller group size, where anything with Grand Circle Travel and Grand Circle Cruise Line is going to be a little bit of a larger group size, longer stays in destination cities, and a little bit slower paced. So we have our river cruising, we have our small ship ocean cruising, and then we have small group adventures by land and larger group adventures by land. I also love that we're talking about a river cruise today because this just happened and I love to share it. So, Grand Circle Cruise Line got voted by Travel and Leisure's World Best Awards, voted number 2 best river cruise line, and also by USA Today Yes, 2025 Reader's Choice Best Cruise Line for Solo Travelers. So that's really important to me to speak about it, why I've been with this company for 8 years. But I just wanted to share that your trip that I will be talking about is with Grand Circle Cruise Line, Travel and Leisure's world's best, number two best river cruise line, and by USA Today Reader's Choice, best number two best cruise line for solo travelers. So we have the wonderful Great Rivers of Europe River Cruise. This is with our privately owned river cruise boat, the MS River Aria. And this is October 4th through October 19th of 2026. And this was my first trip that I've ever taken with Grand Circle. So it has a special place in my heart. It's one of my favorite river cruises, as I've done many with the company. And I love that you're going in October because I love traveling during shoulder season where it's not as crowded. And also, the weather is very ideal. But one of the things that I found special, especially after moving to Florida, is that this is a perfect time to see some beautiful fall foliage on the trip, along with the amazing history and learning and discovery you will have. It will also be a beautiful time during your cruise to see those beautiful fall colors. So again, this is October 4th through October 19th of 2026. And now I'm going to go into some of the highlights on this amazing adventure. Okay. So we have what's included. So what we have on the price here and what you'll see on the flyer, it's starting from $6,045, which includes international airfare out of Tampa and the lowest price cabin category, which is category H. So that's just our lead-in pricing. And on the flyer, you'll see there's different cabin categories that you can choose from, and I'll get into that later on. The deposit for this trip when you do call to sign up is $750 per person. And after that deposit is made, we don't require any additional payments until final payment is due, which is 90 days prior to departure. So all that's required for you to sign up is just a $750 deposit. And then nothing else is required until final payment is due, which is 90 days prior to departure. And what's included is your international airfare, airport transfers, taxes, fees, and fuel surcharges, all your accommodations for 14 nights aboard our privately owned river ship, which is the MS River Aria. Internet access is included. All of your meals are included. And I really like this because you only have to unpack once, which I think is a really great highlight to doing the river cruising. You have 12 included tours and 6 exclusive Discovery Series events. All your gratuities are included for local guides, motor coach drivers, port charges, and baggage handling fees. Plus, all on board house beer, house wine, and soft drinks are included. And that's not just during lunch or dinner, that's included at all times during your cruise. So if you want to grab a beer or a soda, bring it up to the top deck. That is included. And they also vary the different house wines and beers daily. So it's nice to have a different variety, and they'll talk about it with you as well. One of the things that sets Grand Circle Cruise Line apart is we have trip leaders or program directors. A lot of river cruising that you may take will have a set cruise director that will hand you off on local guides or different guides throughout your cruise. We don't do it that way. This particular ship that you will be on holds up to 162 travelers. The group size is around 38 to 45 travelers, depending on how many people are on board the ship. And we'll have about 3 to 4 program directors. And it's really great because they're with your group every step of the way. You have a designated trip leader. They give the majority of your guided tours. You may have a local expert in certain areas, but that trip leader is with you every step of the way. And it's also nice because they have a table on the ship where you embark and disembark. So if you do have free time and you want to ask some questions or recommendations on where you can go or what you can do, they're always available. So now I want to just briefly touch base on what's not included. The only thing that is not included in the cost of your tour is just the tipping for your program director and the ship staff and crew. Now, it is not required, it is just recommended, but all other tipping and meals and everything else is included. So I just wanted to share that. And then we have some optional extensions. I'm not going to go into full detail on the extensions. You can view more directly on our website, as well as videos, 360 views on the ship, the full day-to-day itinerary. Our website is a really great wealth of knowledge. We actually have travel planning guides for all of our trips where you can view, and it's about a 60 to 100 page booklet that's electronic that will show you exactly what you're doing day to day, give you recommendations on what to bring and what to wear. And we also have videos on our website, traveler submitted videos. So I just want to highlight that as well. Our website is done very well, and you will be able to get a lot more information as well on there. So the optional extensions are a pre-trip to Bruges, departing October 1st, and an optional post-trip to Prague, returning October 23rd. These are just optional extensions. They're not required. I've been to both areas. If I could make a recommendation, I would recommend Bruges because when I did a river cruise in October in 2021, I did Bruges on my own because it wasn't offered. And it was really historical and just a beautiful scenery. So I highly recommend it. Another insider tip, because I have been with the company for 8 years, is if you're signing up for this trip and you're thinking of signing up for an extension, do it right away when you're making your deposit, because what can tend to happen is there's limited space available on our extensions, and these can tend to fill up. So it's a lot easier when you make your deposit and add the extension. You can always give us a call back and say, I'm not going to do it, take it off. Where sometimes I've seen it where people will call in last minute to add the extension on, and it could possibly be sold out. So I just want to give you some information on that. They're both great. My recommendation would just be Bruges because of the time you're going. It's absolutely beautiful. And so here is a map of where you'll be going on the Rhine, the Main, and the Danube. And I'm going to get into a few highlights on this amazing cruise. You'll be visiting Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and in Germany, you're going to see my favorite place, which is Cologne. You'll see Koblenz, Rudesheim, Heidelberg, Wertheim, Würzburg, Bamberg, Nuremberg, Regensburg, and Passau. And then ending in Austria, you'll also get to visit Milk and Vienna. So let's move into some highlights on this amazing cruise. So one of the highlights is Amsterdam, which you will see on day 2 and 3 of your tour. You'll have an included morning canal boat tour, and you'll be able to marvel at Amsterdam's famous tall and skinny row houses, where you'll see these tidy window boxes and really hand scrubbed stoops along the way. Absolutely beautiful. Amsterdam is the capital and the largest city in the Netherlands, and is renowned for its canals, artistic heritage, liberal culture as well. It's a major economic and cultural hub, and it attracts millions of tourists annually. Amsterdam is also famous for its extensive canal system, earning it the nickname Venice of the North. So I've been to Amsterdam many times. It's very beautiful. And then during your time in Amsterdam on board the ship, you're going to have a captain's welcome dinner. I also want to highlight that for our program directors that you have, they live in the region that they serve. So they will be from one of the three countries that you're going to be visiting on board this ship. So you'll get that amazing cultural connection. You'll hear their story, their history. I was just recently on a river cruise end of July, and one of the evening activities was the program directors will give a presentation about themselves so you can learn more about how they grew up and really focus on that education, which is why I think we're such a great fit for the lifelong learning. My favorite area on this tour, which is day 4, is Cologne. You'll have an included walking tour of Cologne, which is a former Roman settlement called Colonia. And the highlight of Cologne is the Dom Cathedral. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which largely escaped the World War II damage that devastated the rest of the city and Germany. And there's even evidence that Allied forces were specifically ordered to preserve the beauty of the structure. It's the largest Gothic cathedral in Northern Europe. And my recommendation is if you're able to get out and see it at night, it just glows and I love this picture, but seeing it at night is just spectacular. So just an insider tip from me, because I've been to Cologne and I did this trip. It was my first trip. If you can get outside at night to see it, it's absolutely beautiful. Another highlight is Heidelberg on day 6. This is a historical and vibrant German university town that allures visitors with enchanting architecture, and it has a rich literary heritage and striking riverside panoramas. It's just fairy tales when you go to Europe, and I think this is the perfect trip to see that as well. And one of the highlights in Heidelberg is you'll settle in for a meal of traditional fare in Heidelberg. It's called a Heidelberg Gasthaus, and it's a small inn with a restaurant and bar that has been a part of the old town for centuries. And again, just to highlight, the majority of your tours, you'll have a tour of each city each day, is going to be mostly given by your program director. So it just gives you that personal feel that this is your designated trip leader. They're going to be doing your touring. It's just a really great experience that you'll have. One of my other favorite areas is in Wertheim. This is on day 7. This is where I love that we do these exclusive Discovery Series events when we talk about the learning and discovery. So here on day 7, you'll have a glass blowing demonstration. You'll also be able to admire the imposing ruins of the beautiful castle set on a hill overlooking this fairy tale town. You'll have a guided tour with your program director, and then you'll have the rest of the morning on your own to explore. And my recommendations, you can climb the stairs to the castle and follow the trail around the fortress walls, or you can visit the Glass Museum, where you can see displays of the town's glass production. And in the afternoon on this day, you're actually going to have a home hosted meal, which is another part of our learning discovery. And these are our favorite parts, my favorite parts to what we do. It's called a Kaffee Klatsch, and you get to share coffee and cake with a German family and see what typical life is like in Germany. So we always will give you those tours, but we always like to have those exclusive Discovery Series events, and we'll always try to do a home hosted to really immerse you in the culture. We have Nuremberg, which is a highlight for day 11. This is a city with a long and storied history, but also forever linked to Hitler's rise to power. It's Bavaria's second largest city, and Nuremberg was once the unofficial capital of the Holy Roman Empire. You'll also have an exclusive Discovery Series event on this day where you'll have someone come on board the ship and you'll have a discussion about Germany's role in the war between Ukraine and Russia. So those are other things that we really like to do on board our ship is we'll have some lectures just so you can learn and ask questions. So this will be an exclusive Discovery Series event on day 11 that talks about Germany's role in the war between Ukraine and Russia. We have on days 14 and 15, you'll be on your way to Vienna. And on the way to Vienna, you'll actually be able to get a guided tour of the magnificently ornate Melk Abbey. This is strategically situated on a steep cliffside perch, and the library includes more than 70,000 books and 2,000 manuscripts from the 9th through the 15th centuries. So you'll get an amazing guided tour of the Melk Abbey. Then you'll continue on cruising to Vienna. One of my favorite parts about this cruise is you'll have some scenic cruising, and you'll get to cruise after visiting the Melk Abbey, continuing on to Vienna. You'll get to view the captivating landscape of the Wachau Valley, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So our program directors on board the ship will give some commentary and give you some more detailed information during your cruise through the Wachau Valley. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it is vineyards, lush flowing fields, which is beautiful around fall time. Seeing the vineyards of that bright yellow color, it's going to be spectacular. And then you'll have a guided tour of Vienna. It's Austria's legendary capital city, and it's renowned for its elegance and culture. And then also during Vienna, you will have a captain's farewell dinner. So just covering a few highlights of the trip to keep it short and sweet. And again, for more details on this itinerary, I will stress to visit our website for videos, more details on the ship. I'm going to go into our beautiful privately owned MS River Aria. So again, this ship holds 162 travelers, and the group size is 38 to 45 travelers per group. And we'll have about 3 to 4 program directors on board. Now, I had mentioned that starting from price that you'll see on the flyer for $6,045, which is the least expensive cabin, including international airfare out of Tampa. On the flyer, you will see there's different cabin categories you can choose from, and you can view them more in detail to see photos and like a 360 view on our website. But just to give you a brief difference in the cabins, all of our cabins are the same size except for the balcony cabins, which you'll see on top of the picture. They're just slightly smaller due to the balcony. And the other cabins that are the same size, they're just located on different areas on the ship. And they also just vary in like the type of window that you'll see. But I've been on many river cruises, and if anyone has any concerns about seasickness, it goes very slow, and a lot of times you're docked. So I didn't experience that. And I've stayed in almost every single cabin category. So any questions, don't hesitate to ask, as I'm very familiar with this ship in particular. All right, here. And this is a view of our beautiful dining room. One thing I love that you will also get on our ship is the service, not only with our program directors, but with the crew. They will remember you by name. We are very good at diet accommodations. The food is just spectacular. I will show you some pictures from my recent river cruise. It is dessert central. There were times where I would say, no, I'm not going to have the dessert. And then you see them bringing it out because everything is homemade. It's just spectacular. And then there'll also be, where you go to each area, there'll also be an option for like a local dish traditional to the area that you go to. And then this was a vegetarian option to your left of some spring rolls. But the food is phenomenal, service is phenomenal, and we're very good with diet accommodating. Typically, what will happen is too, when you're having your dinner, They will go and turn down your beds in your room, the staff, and they'll leave you a map of where you're going to be the next day. They'll give you a little brochure of the schedule, and they'll have like a little packet in your room of recommendations of what they recommend you do during your free time. You'll also have a port talk every evening with your program directors, and they will review how the day went, specifically what you're going to be doing the next day. And then there'll be like an easel with the full schedule as well, where you embark and disembark your ship. So it's very good communication, very good service. The food, I will say, though, is top notch. Another option that I want to highlight, this is actually from one of my trips in 2021. We have bikes that are free to take out on board your ship. And this was some of my friends. To the left, actually, is Steve Clark. He is the president of Orlando Ski and Travel Club. So that's one of the groups that I personally work with. And in the middle, his name is WJ Kitchen. And he has been on 47 of our trips. He is a trip leader out of Southern California. And what we actually did was we signed out the bikes and went on a beautiful bike ride. We make recommendations of where you can go, but we decided to kind of go off and explore some neighborhoods. So it's just another option that you can do on board our ships. We do have bikes free of charge to rent out, and it's just an amazing opportunity there. We do have currently a special offer for you guys. So we do offer a goodbye discount, which is a standard savings to our travelers where they can save up to 10% if you pay in full for the tour 15 months or more prior to departure. As we are inside those 15 months, we do have a special offer that is booked by September 2nd of 2025, where if you book by September 2nd, you do have the option to save an additional 10% if you pay in full with a checking account. So it's just an offer here that we have. Again, that's booked by September 2nd. And then this is also on your flyer, but it's just the phone number to call in and reserve. And then make sure to mention the group code for OLLI, which is G6 30660. And again, the deposit is just $750. We don't require any additional payments until final payment is due, which is 90 days prior to departure. And I just want to stress, if you haven't traveled with us before, I really highly recommend giving it a try. I left my job of 12 years to move to Florida, not knowing anybody to work for this amazing company. And it was because prior to COVID, we had events and I had attended an event, and seeing people travel 30, 40 times with our company, it just was amazing to me. And I said, I don't know who that company is because we really don't advertise a lot, but I said, I have to work for them. And just on the back end, like I've spoken about the Boston office, how every floor is decorated in travel. It really is just an amazing company. I can't stress enough about the learning and discovery. The last river cruise I was on, we had a transfer when we got to the airport, and every single person, there was about 6 of them that I was on the transfer with, they were all retired educators. And they spoke very highly of our company because of the exclusive Discovery Series events, the learning and discovery. And we're very accommodating to solo travelers. As you saw, #2 river cruise line for solo travelers. I really think this is a great trip for a river cruise, getting to see the Rhine, the Main, and the Danube. And I will tell you, if this is your first trip, you will not be disappointed. I've been with the company 8 years. I absolutely love it. I love everything to do with it. And just the way we run our tours, we have 36 regional offices around the world. It's just a great experience. And I know firsthand that you will not be disappointed. So I just want to thank Karen and Waynette. I'm going to open it up to questions, but I want to thank you for having me. I really look forward to seeing you sign up for this amazing cruise. And I'd like to open it up for any questions. And you can just unmute yourself and then ask the question, and then I'll be able to answer it. And I should have the answer to all your questions because I have my computer right here. But if I don't, I will take your name down and make sure to get back to you immediately after this presentation. But let's open it up. Any questions?
Can you tell me if I want the balcony,
Yes.
as how much additional it would be?
Yes. I have the flyer right here. So for the balcony, we have two cabins. Okay. The cabin category is an A or B deck. And I'm getting the pricing for you right now on the flyer. Just keep in mind that the cabin is slightly smaller. I just want to preference that because some people don't realize that due to the balcony. And just give me one moment here to get you that pricing. And they are located on the top deck. So the balconies will be on the top deck, and they will have a sliding door with a table and chairs. And the balcony cabin, so when you're looking at it, 6,045 for the H deck cabin here. So with a balcony cabin, we have two categories, category A and category B. I
Amanda,
would
would it be
recommend,
possible for you to share the flyer
yes.
so that way they can see it? Because I don't know that everybody has seen a copy of the flyer.
Oh, of course. Give me one moment here. I'm just looking in my system, but I will pull up that flyer. Give me one moment here. And Waynette and Karen, this flyer is available online as well, correct? I just want to make sure.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
that's correct.
Okay, and you can request a copy of it. Okay, perfect. I'm pulling it up and I'll add it to my shared screen here. All right, give me one moment here. Bringing it over to my other screen just so you can see it. Let me get out of this. Oh. Okay, perfect. So here we go. All right, so you can see the starting from price is 6,045 with international airfare from Tampa. That is, I'm just going to scroll down here. And then here is when you get into the specific cabin categories. Okay, so you can see A and B are the top deck with a balcony. And if you're looking at, I would just recommend an A deck. B deck is fine as well. But it's going to be, so the A deck is $58.95 per person. When I priced it out for the 6,045, it was the H deck, which you can see on the bottom, which is $45.95. So when you're looking at it here, you want to get the difference, which would be $1,300. Okay.
And is that the difference even if it's single? Because I know there's an add-on for the single, the $12.95.
Correct. So yeah, so it's $45.95 plus $14.50, which is the airfare from Tampa for the lead-in price. That's where you'll get the 6,045. And then if you add in the balcony cabin, which is $58.95, it's a $1,300 difference. And then if you are a solo traveler, because we do have a few single rooms available, that single supplement will be in addition, and it is $1,295.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What other questions?
I'm looking online and the category A and well, all the rooms say they're the 160. So you say that the balcony takes away some of the room. How much of the room?
Say to me, it's not significant, but I've had people that have gone on group leaders and say if you're tall, I don't recommend the balcony because the room is just a little bit smaller when you're laying in the bed. I've had a balcony cabin before. There's always options to go to the top deck as well. That's available at all times. So some people just like it. But I would say to me, it wasn't significant, but I'm only 5 feet tall. But I've had people that are tall to say that it does make a difference.
Okay, the next level down, the category C,
Yes,
that picture window does not open, correct?
it does not open, no. So other
So if you
than the
want fresh air,
balcony,
you've got to get the A or the B.
correct. If you want the cabins to open, you want to get the A or the B. The C and D deck are great cabins. They'll have a very large picture window as well as the E and the F. They just do not open. So A and
And,
B would be if you want something that opens. That's correct.
and you give me the dimensions on the 160 feet. Is it like 10 feet by 6 feet or?
Let me pull that up here just to confirm the exact dimensions. Hold on one moment and I'll get it for you. We have specifics on the ship. One moment here. Thank you for your patience. All right, so specific, and just to note the difference, like you'll see A and B, they're both balcony. It's just the B deck, like cabins are next to the restaurant, so it could be a high traffic volume area. So just something to note there, okay? And then right here, so the cabin square footage, it's about 9.8 by 14.7 feet for all of the cabin sizes. And then the Serenade deck, which is the A and B, are just slightly smaller. I don't have the specific dimensions, but it's 9.8 by 14.7 feet.
I want to ask
Yes.
about if you sign up as a single person, but then you should, you sign up about way early and you never know what's going to happen next. And so, can you change that then if you get another person to go with you?
Of course, it happens all the time. So you can sign up as that single room. And a lot of times that will happen where you have plenty of time to take the single supplement so you have it. And then you can move forward and, try to look for a roommate. And if that happens, then we just move that other person into that room with you and take away that single supplement.
I have a question about the single supplement too.
Yes.
You said that, as always, there's limited rooms available.
Yes.
Are they in certain categories? Maybe you said and I just didn't follow. Are they certain categories
That's a
there?
great question. So I did not say that. So with the single room, we have 3 available for your group, and they are in various cabin categories. But you can call, like when you call in, if it's in a category that you're not equipped to, we can move it to you to a different category if you'd like. So they are designated in a specific category, but as long as there's one available when you call in, if you say, okay, I'd like it moved to the A deck because it's on the E deck or something like that, we'll be able to move it for you.
Okay. So there's just 3 though. So
Correct. Yes, they're very limited on the numbers that we have on our ships because you're getting a double room for that price and then just a small single supplement. So there is only 3 maximum. That's correct.
okay. And can I ask you another question?
Yes.
The time of year we're going, will there be any kind of activities or anything that are aimed towards the Oktoberfest?
So usually what they'll do on board, as I do know this, they'll do some sort of a celebration specific to the Oktoberfest. Like we had a German party on the ship that I was just recently on, and they had different kinds of sausages you could try. It was on the tap deck. They had music and they had different beers and different sausages you could try. As far as anything specific for the Oktoberfest, nothing that we are specifically doing other than that I know, which we will do on board the ship. And sometimes in some of the areas they may have like a fall festival or fall carnival, but I don't have anything like that specifically confirmed. But I know they will do something on the ship as far as like a party for the Oktoberfest, and they will celebrate that with different sausages and some beer and live music.
Okay, great. And one other question on the
Yes.
extensions, if you do either of the extensions, is there a tour guide included in that, or are you just on your own for extra days in the extension program?
No, you'll have a designated trip leader, and it will be it may not be your exact trip leader that you have on the trip, but it will be one of the program directors that are on the ship. And you will have a program director. There will be some guided things and some tours on your own. You'll have some free time, but it is guided with a program director throughout your extension, either pre or post.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'd like to address the travel protection plan.
Yes, I can. So,
I have a couple of specific questions.
yes, go ahead.
It says here that it starts at $749 per person. If you're arranging your own airfare, is that a lower rate?
Yes, because it's based off of the cost of the trip. So it's about 10 to 11% of the
That's what
total cost of the trip. So if you're picking a higher, that from price is based off of the starting from price on the front of the flyer, which is $6,045. And if you're picking a higher price cabin, that price will go up. And then if you're doing your own airfare, then it will vary on that pricing, but you can get that approximate pricing when you call in to sign up. If you make your deposit, they will give you the approximate pricing, and then it will also show on your invoice as optional travel protection because we offer it through TripMate, which is really great. I've had people that groups that have had to submit claims, have had great success with TripMate. We have a dedicated team just for our company. So you're not, if you had to file a claim, hopefully you don't, but if you did, you have a dedicated team that's not just dealing with all TripMate clients. It's only specific to Grand Circle and OAT, which is beneficial. And then a couple of things to note with the travel protection is once you make your deposit, our travel protection, if you wanted to cover a pre-existing condition, you need to purchase it within 10 days of making your deposit. Otherwise, after those 10 days, it won't cover any pre-existing conditions, but you can still purchase it up until final payment is made. And I always recommend that anyone have some sort of travel protection. You don't have to purchase it with us. We have TripMate. A couple of things that I will just highlight if you're searching around for travel protection is ours covers 100% cancellation protection for any reason, up to including the day of departure. It either covers a voucher for a future trip or your money back, but I think that's important up until the day of departure. It also includes $50,000 medical and dental, and then up to $500,000 emergency evacuation. Those two things are my biggest things when you're looking at and shopping around for travel insurance. Emergency evacuation coverage and medical and dental. Just look at those two. But we do offer TripMate. It is not required on this trip, but it is highly recommended, and you can either purchase it through us or you can purchase it on your own. And I just want to add something as well, because you mentioned you may be purchasing your own airfare. This goes into the same thing as the extensions. If you're thinking of purchasing your own airfare, just add the airfare on with us. That's just my recommendation from experience, is add the airfare with us. While you're doing your research, once you have your flight booked, just give us a call and have the airfare taken off, because I've also seen the same thing where people will want to purchase their own airfare and then something doesn't work out and they call us last minute and they want to get put on flights with the rest of the group, and either flights are limited or we just don't have any flights available. So it's up to you what you'd like to do. Those are just my tips from being here for 8 years, and that's what I've seen. But that's the information on the travel protection and purchasing your own flights. I know that was a lot of information, but did that answer your question, sir? Do you have any additional for me?
Well, I grew up in the insurance business, so I understood a fair amount of it. I just wanted some clarifications. And by the way, if anybody's interested, TripMate is an affiliate or subsidiary of Generali, which is a very large, respected Italian insurance company that also had some operations in the U.S. I used to work with. So I think they're reputable.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you for that. Yes, that's why we choose them. That's why we go with TripMate. So I appreciate that. And do you have any additional questions regarding the information I've given you, sir?
I think my wife
Yeah,
had something.
we have to tell you about pre-existing conditions. What?
if I
No,
understand the
you don't
pre-existing
have to
condition is
tell us about any pre-existing condition. You just need to have it purchased.
to buy it.
And my apologies, I said tenants
And then
within.
you're covered. If you don't buy within a certain period, you're not covered.
Oh, okay, I wasn't
Yes,
sure
you
what
don't
that
need to
was
tell
about.
us about
Okay,
the
got it.
specific condition. It's just, you just need to purchase it within a
Yeah.
certain amount of time when making your deposit. That's all.
Amanda, can you go over the activity level?
Yes, I can. So all of our trips here with Grand Circle and OAT will have a trip activity level rating, okay? And that goes from 1 to 5. So all of our trips will have an activity level rating from 1 to 5, 1 being the easiest and 5 being the most strenuous. And as I stated earlier, typically the trips with Grand Circle Travel are going to be on the easier side. So this activity level is a number 2 out of 5. So moderately easy. And there's really not much that you really need to be worried about on this trip other than just like the cobblestone and uneven paths. But other than that, there's nothing specific that you should have any concerns on regarding that.
Are
Any
there
questions?
are there
Yes.
mobility restrictions though on the ship? Like, for example, are there any limitations for travelers that need mobility assistance?
Yes, so we travelers using walkers or crutches or other mobility aids must travel with a companion who can assist them. And that's really the only thing there. And we're not really equipped for wheelchairs on the ship. So we just don't recommend it. But on the last trip I was on, somebody had a walker and then another person had crutches, like a walking stick. We just recommend that if you have using walkers or crutches, just travel with someone that can assist you.
If I remember my analysis correctly, the elevator does not go to the bottom deck.
That's correct. The elevator does not go to the bottom deck. Yes, my apologies for that. The elevator does not go to the bottom deck.
Does it go to the top deck?
It does. That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
You just don't want to be on the bottom deck.
Yeah.
We've done some research and a large number of reviews commented on hard beds.
Yes, I can speak to that too. I've been on, I think this was my 5th river cruise. So the bed style is going to be like a Murphy bed type, where during the day it's going to fold up to be like more of a couch situation where you sit in, and then at night they'll fold it down. So it's not like a double bed or a queen size bed. I personally have never heard of a complaint myself about the bed being hard. And I was just actually on a cruise with my mother, and my mother found it very comfortable and slept very well, and she has issues sleeping. I can personally say it was very comfortable for me, but that's just that would be my opinion. But I've been here for 8 years and worked with groups, and I've personally never I've heard people say, the Murphy style bed is different than other river cruises, but I've never heard anyone specifically complain of the hardness of it. And I'm sure, like, to me, they have extra pillows. The pillows were very soft. The mattress was very soft. So it might have been maybe a particular issue that they had in that type of cabin. But I'm very particular about my mattresses, and I found it to be very comfortable.
They'll fold up.
Yes.
Okay.
The beds all fold up. They're not Murphy brand.
They do. They fold down. So they fold up to make a couch, and then they fold down.
Air arrangements. I presume this is cheap coach. Is it nonstop where possible, or is it multi-stops? I mean, I don't want to spend 25 hours when I can make a 10-hour direct flight.
Correct. So typically there's usually one stop, standard flights, and it is economy. That is the pricing of the airfare out of Tampa. But what you can do is we have an entire air department. So when you call in, you can request business class, you can request premium economy, you can request a particular airline that you'd like. If you found an airline, a flight route that is direct or something that you prefer, you can go to our air agents, and majority of the time we can accommodate it. It's just the pricing for the air that you see is just economy, and it's usually 1 to 2 stops. Most likely, I think it's one out of Tampa, but it is economy. It is one stop, and then you can request additional, and we can just go over your routing options, airline, and pricing with you.
What airlines do you normally use?
So we use all major airlines: Delta, Lufthansa, KLM, American, Swiss Air, pretty much all major airlines we will use.
So you're saying when we call in, we would get to talk to somebody about the flight and the fact that we would want first class, and to see how direct we can get there.
Yes, and the agent that you speak with that is going to be booking your reservation, majority, I would say 99% of the time, they are air trained, and they will be able to review that information with you.
Okay, thank you.
But it's great. You have a lot of options with airfare with us. So I really like that you're not tied to just this set flight. This is all you get. There are options. So if you want to inquire about those options, feel free to ask, because we can accommodate pretty much anything.
Do we get any discount for being first-time travelers or AARP members or part of this group?
So we don't have any specific discount for first-time travelers, but what we do have is once you travel with us, and I can pull this up so I can share it on my screen. But what we do have is once you have traveled with us, we do have, it's called a frequent traveler certificate. And basically, anytime you travel with us here, I'm just going to bring this over so I can share it so you can see what I'm talking about here. But you start out with a 5% credit of the advertised cost of your trip that you can use towards your next trip. And then once you've traveled with us 3 or more times, you're part of our Sir Edmund Hillary Club. And then your credit goes from 5% to 6%. Oh, and another highlight I want to say about this river cruise is that if you get 22 people or more to travel out of the OLLI-USF or your group, then we host a private cocktail party just for you. So if there is 22 or more people in your group traveling together, you will have a private cocktail party on board the ship with snacks and hors d'oeuvres just for your specific group. But just wanted to share this. This is our frequent traveler certificate. So nothing specific for a new traveler, but for existing travelers, anytime you book a trip with us, you will get a 5% credit of the advertised cost of your trip. And then once you've completed it would be your 3rd trip with us. 3 is your Sir Edmund Hillary. You become a 6%.
You brought up a point, or remind me a point. How much do cocktails normally cost? What's an average cocktail cost on board?
It's average, and they'll have packages too on board, depending on what those packages are. But it was very reasonable. I would say $5 or $6 was an average cocktail. And again, the beer and wine in-house is very good, and it's included at all times during your cruise. But the average cocktail, and they'll do theme nights. So one of the nights on my last cruise, they did a Mexican night. So they had margaritas in the lounge, and they had chips and salsa, and everyone was dressed up. And they did an American night. So I would say an average around $5 to $6, but they'll have packages on board, or if you like I had someone on there who they really liked Kettle One vodka, so they bought a bottle and they gave it to them as a discount, and they used that to make their cocktail. So there'll be options once you get on board the ship that they'll explain to you and go over it with you.
Thank you.
Amanda, I just have 2 quick questions. One
Yeah.
is on, you mentioned that the local guide gratuities are included.
Yes.
But What about shipboard gratuities?
Yes, so
Or,
the only thing that's not included are the shipboard gratuities and the gratuities for the program director. So shipboard, it basically covers your entire crew, which is like the bartending staff, they service your room every day, the wait staff, and then your program director. Those are the only two tips they're not required, they're recommended. And this will be in your travel planning guide, which is on the website. But for the ship crew, it's a recommendation of $10 to $12 per day. And the program director is $8 to $10 per day. And again, it's not required. We just recommend it. And then an insider tip from me is that if you do decide that you choose to tip, what I typically do on the river cruises, because there's a safe in your cabin, is I will separate the money out before I go and put it in an envelope. This is for the ship crew. This is for the program director. Okay. And then I will label it, and that way it's separate from any spending cash that you want to bring. And I will just leave those in the safe. And then at the end, the program directors will debrief you all and talk about that and give you a specific envelope. And then that way you already have your money ready to go.
okay,
What
thank
about
you.
onboard entertainment? Will you like bring on people in various towns with local entertainment, or do you have some other? Or?
Yes. So sometimes, like, it just depends. Like, I don't have the confirmed onboard entertainment for this itinerary. Usually we finalize that closer to departure. But there is, as far as locals, we'll have, as you saw, some exclusive Discovery Series events where you'll have like a lecture, or sometimes there'll be local music that we'll have come on board. You will have an onboard musician as well who will sing, who will DJ, they'll play music as well. But there will be some local onboard entertainment typically in the evening, and that will be finalized as it gets closer to your departure. And your trip leader will discuss that while on board with you. But some of it will include lectures, music, but yes, there will be local entertainment as well at some of the stops, port stops.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amanda, what is the recommendation for like exchange, Euro exchange?
Yes. So you can do it before if you want to. I just recommend, I say you usually get a better exchange rate over once you get over there. And the trip leaders are very good at telling you where you can take money out or where you can go exchange money. Some people, like when I went with my mom, she didn't care. She's like, I just want to exchange it in the United States. I feel more comfortable. So I would say it's up to you. You will have opportunities to exchange money over there, and your trip leaders
Okay.
will tell you where to go and what to do. Or you can do it prior to. So that is entirely up to you, but you'll get a better exchange rate if you do it over there. Any other questions before we end the presentation? All right. Well, thank you, Karen. Thank you, Waynette, for having me. Any additional questions that come up, you can reach out to Waynette. She can come back to me and I'll get you an answer for them. So don't hesitate, because things will come up. That's what I'm here for. I want to help. I want to make this successful for you guys. And thank you all for taking the time to come to my presentation. I hope you learned a little bit more about the trip and about our company. And I think we're a great fit. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all sign up. And thank you, John, for sharing your information. Yes, go ahead.
Amanda, if we have questions, how do we get in touch with you?
So you would go through Waynette, and then she would get them to me. Otherwise, you can call directly into our reservations department as well, because they're open 7 days a week. But that is entirely up to you. That's also your option. And like you said, John, that travel planning guide, majority of your questions will be answered in there. And on our website, you can view full details of the ship and everything else. So I would just recommend check there, check the travel planning guide first. And then if it's something else, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to either our reservations department. I would do that first. And then if not, you can ask Waynette and she can filter it through me. Thank you all for having me. It was a pleasure to meet all of you and be here today. Thank you.